Hello, my friends. Here we are for another fantastic Revit tip. All right. So today's Revit tip comes because I've had several clients trying to do something and have come up short. And they said, what are we doing wrong? And I'm going to explain today how to correctly, the best way to upload your Revit files to BIM360. And I will show you the wrong way to do it, and then I'm going to show you the right way to do it. And here's what happened. I've got some clients that decided we need our project, and we've got several files. We've got the architect's file, we've got the MEP file, we've got the structural file, and maybe they had even more. Maybe they had a furniture file that was linked in because it's such a huge project, they kept the furniture in a separate file. They had their site. They had their core and shell separated from the interior model. I mean, lots of files. And they put them all up on BIM360, and no one on the team could see them. Nobody could access the files. Nobody could open them and work. And they're like, hey, this is bad because we were working perfectly fine on our server. And now that all the files are up on BIM360, we can't see them and work with them. What's wrong? And they call me. And so I said, how did you do it? How did you get those files up on BIM360? And once they told me, I was able to tell them what they did wrong. So here we go. Let me share my screen with you. I'm gonna share right now. Okay, here we are in the project. Let's just say you're working on the project, la, 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 having a great old time. Working on your building, you're having a fun time, and you and all of your team are linked into it, and you are collaborating, and you say, oh, now it's time to put our file up on BIM360 because we're going to start collaborating with other consultants. We've got the project to the place now that we are going to link up. We want to start linking in structural, mechanical, and start working collaboratively online on the cloud, the Autodesk Collaborative Cloud, okay? And we often call it BIM360. So that's where you want these files. And you're like, okay, everybody, synchronize your, whoever's in charge. Everybody, actually, not on the phone, we typically send emails. You type, hey, everyone, please synchronize to Central so that I can have all your work. So when I put the file up on BIM360, you don't lose any work. Send. And everybody writes back, done. I synchronized. Go ahead. I'm ready. Okay. And the whole team communicates with you, and you're like, bingo. And then you do one last synchronize so that you have the latest and greatest file. And here's where you can go wrong. Wait for it. Let's just suppose you did your final synchronize and you have the latest file in Revit. So you save and close. There's your first mistake. And then you go to the project online. You go to, and I'm going to go there now. I'm going to go to the project here on the Autodesk Construction, the cloud. So you're up at your project and you're like, okay, here's my file. It's called the Architect's Office Project. And the account admin for your office that has admin rights to BIM360 and can create projects has created this project for you, because not all the team members can create a new project. I think you already know that there's only one person in the firm that has admin rights to create new projects for the firm. And that person creates a project and it pops up, and that person has to at least invite someone from the team and give them admin rights so that they can start adding, that person can now take over the project and start adding more members to the project, either from outside consultants or inside the in-house team. And if you guys have questions about adding people and also setting up permissions and setting up rights to certain folders, just let me know and I'll show you best practice. But right now, the only thing I wanted to show you guys is how to load your Revit files. And if you are the admin guy and you come to the BIM360 website, like I'm at right now, and you go, okay, it looks like I've got a folder set up 01 architecture and there's 02 structural. When the structure, I'm going to give permission to the structural engineer to put his file in that folder. And there's a 03 MEP. I'm going to give, these are just created folders. This is how I typically set them up. So it's 1, 2, 3 there. And then other miscellaneous folders go below that. That's just how I do it. Anyway, and then I'm going to give permission to the MEP guys to put their files in the MEP folder. But today, before I get that going, I need to get my architects file into the architecture directory. And when I click on it, there's no Revit files in here. So I think a good idea would be for me to click this beautiful blue button on screen that says upload files. Click. Wrong. If you load your files from that button, then no one on your team will be able to work with them, because that button is to load like PDFs or some CAD files, or you could post a Revit file for someone to download, but not work with collaboratively. Because anything that is loaded up with that is static and stuck and can't be used collaboratively as we know collaboratively in Revit, like with work sharing and different people linking into it and being able to see it from Revit. Don't use that blue button. Okay. The right way to get your files from on the server up onto BIM360 is to get back in Revit. So we're going to pop back to Revit. So when you're inside Revit and you want to collaborate with other people and get your files up onto BIM360, you simply make sure that everybody, like we talked earlier, everybody synchronizes. You do the final sync, okay, and hit the final save. You can hit save or synchronize on your server. And I'm going to call this, I'm going to delete that file because that was just a test that I did earlier. Okay, I'm going to call this file that I'm putting on here, Little Architect's Office. Actually, the Little Architect's Office, it's not so, it needs to be bigger. And so I'm just going to give it a generic name, Architect's Office. Okay, I'm going to hit save. So now you have to save your file before you can put it up on BIM360. The program requires you to have it saved before it will push it up on the BIM360. So here we go. Once it's saved, and wait for it, there we go. Now you could be in your local file, or you could have actually opened Central, which is typically a no-no. And I tell people, don't do it. Don't open Central. But if you were in Central, it still works. But typically you're going to be in your local file, right? Or just in a file that you want to work collaboratively up on BIM360. It doesn't actually have to have work sharing turned on yet. But you are ready. And here's what you do. You go up to Collaborate tab. And there's a button here that says Collaborate. I'm going to click it. Bam. Okay. And it pops up and it says, would you like to collaborate on your network or up in the cloud? And I'm like, okay, this particular file honestly has never been turned on for work sharing. If I wanted to turn it on for work sharing, I would go with within your network button, the radio button, you know, the default, and shared it internally. But let's just say we're past that and we want to go up to the cloud. You're going to change the radio button to in the cloud. I'm saying, okay, okay. So it's going to give me a dialog box about where to put it. And I need to, right now, I don't have to switch anything. It automatically suggested my virtual BIM management, the architect's office project that is online set up. And I can see right here that I have my project files folder. You guys saw that earlier. And if I expand that, that's not where I want to put my file. If I expand it, look at this. There's my 01 architecture, 02 structural, 03 MEP, and so on. I want it inside this folder online. So I click on it. And you can just look at the line right there, and it tells you where it's going. It's going into the project, architect's office project, under project files, under 01 architecture. When you know that's in the right place, then you can rename the file whatever you want down here. This is your chance to name the file. And if you were in a virtual, I'm not a virtual, but a local file, a local copy, your whole name would be here. And so you can strike that all out and get this back to whatever you want. And you can, right now is the best time to rename that file if you need to. And I'm going to actually. It says architect's office, but I'm going to put an underscore and I'm going to put R23 because this project is in Revit 23. And I just want anyone that goes into this directory to look at it to know what version this project is in. So I typically always put R22 if it's a Revit 22 project, or R23 if the project is Revit 2023. Okay. So when I'm ready with this name, whatever I've chosen to name the file, then I hit save. And it pushes, it's pushing my file up onto the internet. It's pushing it to the BIM interface. This is the only way to get your files up on BIM 360. And you got to let your consultants know to do that too. If they just copy them up, you won't be able to use them. And they won't be able to collaborate up there on their own files. So just let everybody on the team know that if anybody is planning on pushing their files up to work collaboratively on BIM 360, you have to go through Revit. You got to go through Revit and go through collaborate in the cloud. Okay, I'm just saying. So we're waiting for it. Work sharing was started. It's saving the model up to the cloud. And we wait. It just takes a minute. It's pushing it up to the cloud. La, 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 la. This is live. I mean, this is real world. It's going up there right now. And what? Does it actually look like it's going to finish? Wait for it. Collaboration, initiation. Okay, now we're waiting some more. But okay, while we're talking, I just want to tell you guys, if the guys that asked me to help them put their files up there, they did indeed have like 6 huge files that needed to go up on the internet. And there's no shortcut about it. You have to open the file. You have to save it, make sure it's saved. And then you got to upload it by hitting collaborate in cloud and put it in the correct directory where it belongs. That's the only way to get your files up on BIM 360. And it took forever because those files were, I don't know, 3/4 of a gig. They were big files, okay? And so they pushed up to the cloud. Took a little bit of time, but once they were there, okay? So I'm just chit-chatting with you while this is pushing this awesome architecture office online. La, 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 la. We wait, yes, we wait. Hey, it's pushing past 50%. It always goes away at 50% and you wonder what's happening and then it comes back. You'll notice that every time that you go to load a file, it'll get to 50%, and then the little green bar is going to go away. And it's like, oh no, what? It's broken. But just give it a second, it comes back. We're passing 75% right now. And in just a moment, it's going to tell me, wait for it, your file is safely online. There we go. Look at that. The model was saved up to the cloud. So I can close that. And so I'm currently now working on the cloud. In this file, I'm actually in the cloud. But let me just show you I'm going to go back to the cloud. And there she is, ladies and gentlemen. The architect's office R23. It's spinning a little bit because it's just finishing itself. That's what it's doing. But while it's finishing, I'm going to pop back to Revit. I'm going to close this. Watch this. File, close. I can close it, and let's just say I call everybody. All right, wait, not call. I'm going to type. Okay, everyone, I have put the files up on BIM360. You can go there to get your files now. My advice to you guys is to go on your server, wherever this file originally was on your server, and archive it, because somebody on your team is not going to get the email, and they're going to try to open that file and advance it. I'm telling you, this happens. So once it gets copied up to BIM360, it's existing in 2 locations now. You've got it still on your server, and it's on BIM360. Even though you sent the email that says, hey, everyone, don't use the version on our server any longer. Please use the one that is up on BIM360. And as you send them invites and make them part of the project, make them members of the project, they're going to get an email that will let them know that the files are on BIM360. But for some reason, someone's going to try to open that one on your server. So don't go there. What I want you guys to do is archive it. Get it out of that directory that people are normally going to. That way they won't accidentally open it and advance the file. Okay? They'll be forced to go to BIM360. And here's how they do it. When they open Revit, the correct version of Revit that the project is in, then they come down here and click on Autodesk Docs. If your file is like on the new ACC site, the Autodesk Construction Cloud, but it might, if on older versions of Revit, it'll say BIM360 or B360 right there. So when I click on that, and that's what they're going to have to do, no longer do they hit this open button up here or new to open it. They come down and click on Autodesk Docs now. And when they click there, it gives them a list of all the projects they're currently invited to. And if they're only invited to one project, it's the only one that's going to pop up, or the last one that they were working on will pop up. So here we are, Architect's Office. And this is how they'll open a file. You just have to tell them in that email, oh, by the way, the files are located under Project Files, and under that 01-architecture. Send, you got to let them know what stuff is. So when they click on it, the file will be there for them. This would be blank here and nothing if you had used the blue button that we talked about earlier. Even though you put all your files, no one would be able to see them from Revit. But when they are visible from Revit, like it is right now, I'm just going to click on it and open it. Then it opens like this, what it looks like when it's opening. Then everything is a go, and your team is ready to start linking in and working. And it is opening the Architect's Office R23. It's opening it so that I can actually get some work done. Maybe I'll advance this Architect's Office and make it really cool. But look, I'm in the project, and if I go to the plan, sure enough, there's the floor plan ready to go. So I'm in the project in BIM360 right now. Anyway, that, my friends, is how you get your files up on BIM360 so people can collaborate in them. Your team can start working. Anyway, I know that that was kind of basic stuff, but I've been getting hit with questions on how do I do this? I put my files up there by using the blue button and it didn't work. That's correct. It won't work. So now that you know, now you can upload your files safely to BIM 360. All right. Well, I hope that helps somebody out there. And I hope you have a fantastic day. And until we meet again, happy Reviting. All right. Bye-bye.